Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacano with GoBlackKnights.com, along with Army Inside Linebackers slash co-captains Andon Thomas and Kalib Fortner. Guys, first question for you. Know you're coming off a tough loss from Tulane, but I also know the Army philosophy. That thing's in the rearview mirror. Probably don't even remember at this point. How has the last week or so of practice gone? Talk about Air Force prep.
Uh,
Whoever wants to go first, it's fine.
Last week, obviously not the outcome we wanted, but I've told multiple people this that, you take score out of the game. Like, I think we played really well as a team. Like, honestly, probably our most complete game. Obviously, just got to finish. But like, honestly, we're all encouraged as a team. Like, we understand we were that close to winning the game. But like you said, it's in the past. Like, got to go 1-0 every week. I think we've had a great week of preparation so far. Just focusing on eyes on defense really is the biggest thing. But yeah, I mean, Air Force, it's a big one. Part one of the CIC. So I
Yeah,
think
we're definitely going to get into some more CIC Air Force talk for sure. Yep.
to build off what Andy said, I think we really did play as best as we have all year in terms of collective unit, offense, defense, special teams. It's unfortunate, but you never want to look back in the rear view. So building off what Andy said, it's really about your eyes and fitting the numbers and fitting leverage and that's just what we're going to continue to work on every week.
Good. That also gives me some confirmation that I know what I'm talking about because I told everybody I thought that was the best you guys played all year. Everybody's all emotional and stuff, and I'm like, no, they played great. Like just the outcome wasn't what we wanted. It's fine. So anyway, let's talk about not just that game, but kind of, we're halfway through the season. Like I said, getting ready for Air Force. As kind of the captains and leaders, and I know you're not the only leaders. I know Casey Larkin's a great. I mean, everybody's a good leader on the defense, but just as firsties, and as the captains of the team, talk a little bit about in your opinion, where the defense is right now, how you guys have performed so far, and and then you kind of mentioned it already, so you kind of already hit the second part of the question, but what you guys need to do to improve, and you mentioned eye discipline, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, looking at Tarleton State to where we are now, I think we've made, leaps and bounds. And I think, the beginning of the year, we had not only leverage issue, but we had gap issues. I think, the next week, we played really well against Kansas State. The next week, against North Texas, it wasn't as much as it was gap issues. It was just the home run plays where we're kind of giving up. And, same thing with ECU, spotting teams 21. But I think overall, after those two games, against UAB and Charlotte, we put it together as a unit. And I think, against Tulane, we put it together as a team. And so it's really nice to see the defense start to progress and start fast and, play leverage sound and fundamentally sound and their assignment sound. And it's just something we have to build on, especially as we're getting to the latter half of the year. Yeah, I think I mean he hit it perfectly. We realized like as a defense, as a collective unit, like just doing our 111th, like you can't try to make more plays. If you're in the right spot, the plays are gonna come. I think guys have kind of realized that. And really it's just like fundamentals. Like I tell everyone, it's like if we tackle well, we own our leverage and we finish the fourth quarter, like things will turn out well for us. So I think that's something me and Caleb have really emphasized this year. But I mean, like I said, after last game or after the past few weeks, the past three games, really, we've been encouraged, and we know we have a good team here, so we're looking forward to next weekend.
Yeah, I think if we go back from the end of the first quarter against East Carolina through halftime of the Tulane game, if I'm not mistaken, the starting defense had gone 13 quarters and only given up one touchdown. Is that accurate as far as you're aware?
It sounds pretty accurate. Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing performance, right? But then, unfortunately, like you get to the end of the Tulane game, and I mean, the second touchdown, kind of crazy. Everybody knows it. You guys couldn't have played that much better, but it is what it is. Tulane scores two touchdowns in the last 2 minutes. You start off. You mentioned the North Texas game. Part of that was turnovers, but you guys started in the whole 21-0. East Carolina hit a couple of big shots on you, and you're down 21-0. So there's I mean, the defense has played amazingly well in chunks, but then you've had these small like lapses. And I mean, part of it, I understand. Part of it's the quality of the opponent too. Like East Carolina's got a lot of talented players. So does North Texas, and the Tulane quarterback. From what I've seen, other than maybe Byron Brown at USF, is the best passer in the conference. So how do you guys try to get rid of some of those little mini lapses, if you want to call them that.
Yeah, I think Caleb hit on it earlier. Like another thing we emphasize is like starting fast. Like North Texas, ECU, we spotted both of them 21 in like the first quarter, like the first few minutes of the game. That's just not a recipe for success at all. So like starting fast, having success in the first couple of drives, I think really builds confidence. And like last week, 3 points in the first half, and then we let up, a couple touchdowns there at the end. Obviously the other team has a say, but like really, I think the thing we need to focus on is like when the momentum is against us, the defense need to be the ones to flip it. So we need to make more plays, I think. But like I said, we're encouraged and we're looking forward to it. So
Kind of the last thing Andon said, we have to make more plays. I think it's important we start fast, but when our plays come, we know we have to make them, and I think that's what we had the lack of, in the second half of the Tulane game. We had them dead to rights, 4th and 8. We just have to make our plays, and it's just it happens to everybody on the defense. It happens. I mean, there was, it's not just one play, 2 plays, 3 plays. It's you know, it's collective. We got to be able to make our plays when they come, and I think you're starting to see that, and we've got to continue to do that.
And we had last week before the Tulane game, we interviewed sophomore defensive lineman Jack Balsam. We've been really impressed with his play, specifically in the way he's come on the last couple of weeks. What do you guys see working with Jack that you like from seeing a young guy there as a sophomore defensive lineman?
I think the sky's the limit for him. He's got a J.J. Watt build or a Joey Bosa build. I feel really safe when he's in front of me, and the fact that he has 2 more seasons after this one, if not, is it 3 or 2?
2 more seasons.
2, yeah, 2 more. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm super excited for that kid's future, and he's doing a great job for us right now. Especially, I think you interviewed me early in the year, and you were talking about not getting much pressure on the quarterback. Well, obviously you're seeing that now, and I'm just super proud
yeah.
of in that room in particular. Jack, Jack, Jack Latour. Holy crap! I was about to say Flowers, but he's a manager for us. But Jack Latour, he's doing a great job. Our nose guards are doing a great job. It's really encouraging to see.
Yeah, I think both Jack Latour and Jacob Teode, two seniors, and Sean Gray as well, they've really stepped up as leaders in that room. I think that's like allowed Jack Bowson to like really grow the way he has. I mean, obviously he's got a freak body, like
Oh yeah.
6'5", just yoked, but like
Yeah.
he's really fundamentally sound and like he's in front of Caleb, not in front of me as much. But I'm super proud of him, and I think to speak more of like the man he is more important because like he's a great dude, super genuine, super outstanding. That obviously carries over into the field. So.
And then let's talk about behind you guys, really, too. The corners are doing a great job, no doubt about it. But the safeties have really kind of been the talk of what's going on with the Army defense as of late. Casey Larkin had the first pick of the year against Jake Retzlaff. That Retzlaff threw, not that Casey had, but and the Dozie's played really well, caused a couple turnovers. Also recovered a fumble that I think you caused, Caleb. And Collins obviously played really well back there too. I know there's a lot of coverages, especially for you, Andon, because I know Caleb, a lot of times you're more rushing the passer, doing some stuff, and then you're dropping back into zone with the safeties there in a lot of cases. How much comfort does that give you to know that those guys are always going to be where they're supposed to be over the top?
Yeah, I mean they're all great players. I mean Casey's going to be Casey. He's going to throw his body in there and make plays. But I think Colin Madison and Steve Dozie, they've really stepped up in their roles. Obviously, we had a great safety in Max last year, so they had pretty big shoes to fill, and I think they've far exceeded what everyone thought they would. Especially like Colin, Kansas State, kind of coming out having a great game. And I'm super proud of those guys. It makes me really comfortable feeling when those guys are behind me in coverage. And we got D line putting up a good rush as well as our outside linebackers. So, I'm just super proud of this defense and how we played this far. But like I said, the sky's the limit, and we got 5 more games, 6 more games really, to show the country who we are. So,
No, I don't think I can say anything I've read. That's what it said.
No, that's good. So, you two, let's talk about you two. I mean, you guys are the captains. I know everybody at Army's super humble, so I get you're going to like team effort. I understand all that. But you guys have both played great, and everybody's noticed it. And you've been playing great for a while, but especially the last couple of games. But I'm gonna give you a chance to tell the truth because I'm not gonna ask you to talk about yourself. From a chemistry standpoint, you guys seem to have really good chemistry. Like even in this interview, I feel like you have really good chemistry. You have good chemistry on the football field. I feel like you guys lead the team very effectively and play very effectively together. And then what are, some of the strengths of Caleb's game as you see him, some of kind of his top strengths, and then Caleb, if you can answer the same question about Andon.
Yeah, I'll go first. For me in the spring, I didn't get to practice next to this guy, and I really wanted to beat him up every time I saw him because we do have such great chemistry out there. And then like man, the stuff he sees pre-snap and the stuff he tells me I can like what he sees and what that allows me to do. It really helps and it helps me play fast. I'm not a fast guy, but if I can see stuff fast, I'm able to play at a high level and play quicker. But ultimately, I'm super blessed and fortunate I've got to play next to Andon. He's a phenomenal player as you saw last year, but you're continuing to see this year. And like if we were to go out to practice next week, lean up to Air Force and he wasn't beside me, I'd be like, oh crap, we're worried. But that's just the chemistry we have, and that's just these academy games we play together, and I'm super confident when he's out there beside me that he's going to be where he needs to be and he's going to make his plays. And it's truly a blessing to play with Andy. It really is.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, like right back at him. Like I think the biggest thing for us is like our communication. Like obviously we talk, but it's like we got to the point where it's like nonverbal too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like I look at him, he's like, all right, we both know what to
I
do. You
got
know
you.
what
I
I
got
mean?
you.
So yeah, so it's like like I said, like you said, like I'm blessed to be beside him. Only two inside linebackers in our class coming in, and just to like reflect on how far I've come and how far he's come, as I know he's done. It's really amazing in his third year starting, seeing him ball out our sophomore year against Air Force and against Navy with those big plays. I thank God for him. I thank God for just this team and, all the blessings that we have and continue to have. So, I couldn't be more grateful for him.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Good stuff. And as we kind of get into the CIC season here, kicking off, right? Everybody talks about there's really two seasons for Army. There's the American Conference and there's the CIC. First game, fresh slate. Always important to beat Air Force, always important to win the CIC, but especially this year because really there could potentially be a bowl bid attached to this at the end of the day. I mean, not in and of itself, but could certainly lead that way. So, I know beating Air Force is reward enough in itself. You don't need any additional incentive. But that being said, how important is this game to you guys? How ready do you feel? You've both, Caleb, this will be your third Air Force game, I think you're starting in, and Andon, this will be your second. Although neither one of you have actually been to Colorado Springs, I know you've been to Denver. It's always a tough place to play. There's the altitude, there's all that stuff. Talk about just kind of not just the two of you, but the team's focus on this game and where you think you guys are and how you think you're going to stand up to the challenge. I know Air Force's offense has just been lights out the last couple of weeks. They're putting up big numbers. So just talk about where you think you guys are going into that game.
Yeah, no, I think we've had a great week of practice thus far. And, obviously Air Force, Army, Air Force is a big rivalry. But I think like me and him don't really need to like speak on it that much. Like everybody understands like the magnitude of this game, right? I think what me and him need to do is to emphasize like, yeah, this is a big rivalry, but also like we need to focus on us and what we do because it doesn't matter what they do. Like we need to focus on us, even though it's a big rivalry. There's the emotion, the excitement. It's all going to be there, the altitude. But we need to focus on us and executing our plan, executing our fundamentals. So I think that's where we've done that well, and we need to continue to do throughout the next week.
And you hit on it, Joe. Their offense has been putting up some numbers, but in every game they've lost, they've been in there and they've been pretty close to winning. And it's the same with us. But like Andon said, we've got to focus on us and make sure we're playing fundamentally sound against this type of offense, which is kind of looking more like Navy's triple, which is a little more complex. And they they've got a really good team. Hopefully we can, stand up against that and come out victorious. But we just got to focus on us with the remainder of the week and next week.
Sounds like a good plan. Can't disagree with that. So you guys are kind of the latest in the line, and we just did an article at GBK on West Point kind of being linebacker you in some ways. When you look at the amount of guys, like the total amount of guys from West Point who go to the league versus the number of linebackers who have ended up in the league, and then just some other amazing linebackers who didn't go to the league. Alex Ackerman, who works post game with me a lot of times. Kenny Brinson, James Nautigal, going way back, Anthony Noto with SoFi. And do you guys talk to some of your predecessors? I know there's an Army football brotherhood, but is there like a brotherhood within the linebacking core? And do you guys ever talk to like Radigan or Cole Christensen or Leo Lowen or any of your guys from previous years about kind of the standard of the linebacker position at West Point, which is really high, I think.
Yeah, I think every position room here has a standard and their own motto, if you will. And I think, the linebackers are the standard of the team. I really do. And we keep up with all of our guys. We keep up with Camden O'Gara, Leo Lowen, John Radigan came back, for the spring game. I got to write my letter to SoFi CEO Noto, which was awesome, and I got to see him a lot last year when we were doing really well at some of the games. But we really are linebacker all those guys you mentioned, those are the standard. Those guys are the standard, and they played that way. They lived their life that way, and that's something we really hold. We have pride in here in the linebacker room. And we still preach that because we're gone here in 50 something